Aye.
Short Bus Debate Club. It's a bus rolling.
I can get on board. Hello, I'm Darren Jolly.
It's time to get this short bus started. So let's roll and on with the show. Hello, people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what time it is where you are, but good whatever the hell it is. This is Brian Courtney with Short Bus Debate Club. As always, Darren Jolly's sitting across the table from me.
Hello.
Today, we are going to talk about self-defense. How far is too far as we're concerned. Some of what the states say, because I think it's kind of funny that if you're in one state, you can go ahead and kill somebody. And, if you drive a few hours to the next state over, you are going to go to jail for the rest of your life or get the death penalty. The whole thing that sparked this, I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you've logged into the internet anytime in the past few weeks, you probably have. There's a smoke shop in Vegas called Smokestrom, and 3 kids tried to rob the place. One of the kids was stabbed multiple times.
By the shop owner.
Right. Sorry. So, again, personally, I think he had every right to do that. There's a security guard that was interviewed by the news that said, well, if they're just taking stuff, you should go ahead and let them have it. I disagree with that point of view. But I'm going to shut up and let Darren talk a little bit.
So, the way that I got this introduced to me, I walked in. I was talking to my other buddy Brian, Alec, and Olivia at Mile High Pipe and Tobacco. Their shop had recently been robbed, so this was something that was a topic of interest to them, and they showed me this. And like Brian said, the 2 kids come in. They have like a balaclava, like a ski mask looking thing on their face. There's a tall kid and a shorter kid. The shorter kid's got he's got a backpack turned around, open on the front of his person, and the shop owner, Johnny Wynn, he asked them, "What are you guys doing with the masks on in here?" And he says, "Why don't you just leave?" He's very, very, very calm the whole time, actually. And the tall kid says, "No, I don't think so." He grabs the tip jar, runs off. Johnny says, "Why don't you just
leave me the coins?"
Yeah, leave me the coins. I just need the coins. Take the cash, right? He was totally fucking calm the whole time. Meanwhile, he's got his hand down, and he's grabbing a knife right next to the cash register. The tall kid comes back. He's standing on the right. So Johnny's standing right in the corner, right where the cash register is. The shorter kid is on the left side. The taller kid is on the right side. And the taller kid sets down the tip jar and reaches across. Johnny goes to confront him. The kid goes back, and the shorter kid goes over, hops over with that backpack. And Johnny goes over and just like 1, 2, 3 in his right side, and the kid gives him a right cross. I mean, sure, it's like straight up adrenaline because he's just been stabbed 3 times. He turns around to where he's in front of him. Actually, the first one were on his left side. The second set of them, he gets 2, one in his lower hip, and then in the fifth one comes in his midsection. And the last 2 come like in his upper shoulder area, and then right by his spinal cord. And the kid, the shorter kid, just goes, I'm dead. Like one of the most fucked up things I've ever heard in my life, because the kid realizes in that moment, as he's been stabbed 7 times, that he's totally fucking fucked. Like Brian said, there were all kinds of people that had watched this, and there were a bunch of takes that sort of like came up about it. a lot of the initial responses were, I think I should say first, when immediately after the incident, went and did a what do you call that on Reddit? He did a ask me anything on Reddit, and basically talked about what had happened, which was probably not the smartest thing in the world for him to do. But ultimately, there's this concept of like proportionate like response, and I don't know if you've ever been in the middle of a weird situation where shit's going real fast, but you don't really have a lot of time to sit there and go, especially when you got one person on one side of you, another person on the other side of you. You obviously you don't have eyes that can go in two separate directions, unless you're like the guy in Mr. Deeds,
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi and Mr. Deeds, yeah. But I mean, the fact is that you're going to kind of respond instinctively, and like I said, Johnny Wynn, he responded he was very calm, but he straight up took care of that kid.
Well, and so here's the thing. Once the adrenaline starts pumping, you get that fight or flight response. Clearly, the owner, Johnny Wynn, got the fight response and not flight. I think a lot of people choose to fly, and the ones that instinctively fly, I think, are the ones saying, he could have responded a different way. Why did he use a knife? All of this stuff. And it's kind of funny because, so let's say that he decided he was going to respond with his fists instead of a knife, and he was going to try to subdue the one. Well, he didn't know what was in the backpack, for one thing. And for another, the guy's friend would have been behind him. So he tries to subdue him physically with his hands, and leaves the knife by the register. So now the knife is 6 or 8 feet away. What happens if a weapon is produced from the backpack, or the kid behind him produces a weapon? Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's fair for anybody to say he should have done this instead. I think that he acted appropriately. Really, if you watch the video, yes, he did stab him 7 times, but he didn't really try to stab him in the throat or in the gut. He was stabbing at bone. Mm-hmm. I think... I don't know for a fact. Maybe it was because of the way the kid turned around, but I mean, he didn't try to go for a death blow.
Yeah, he didn't go for the head. He didn't go for the temple. He didn't go for the throat. These things are clear, and because we want you all to be able to understand. Because part of the problem is a lot of these people, when they keep saying the things that they're saying them in the abstract, and we want you. So in the details, or we'll include a link in the
description.
So you can at least kind of say it is. I mean, there. It's no joke. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
It's fucking hilarious. Yeah. But what I'm wondering is why. So from what I can tell, the kids started trying to grab shit off the shelf. So they were robbing this fucking place to get vapes, or flavored fucking vape.
Yeah, that's
juice
usually when they rob. Yeah, because they could, when the little e-cigarette things. That's something they can turn around and sell. And a lot of, like, in the instance where my buddy's store got robbed, not that there were 2 that were robbed, but the one that was robbed up north, that's what they stole was e-cigs, like anything that, and the disposable ones, the ones that cost what is
they're like company? $6 or $7.
Well, some are like $16 depending on how many. But no matter what, the point is that if you steal that, if you go and you steal, say, $10,000 worth of that, you can go onto the street and you can flip them for $3,000 or $4,000 at half the price. It's something that they can make the money off, and it's not something that you can trace really easily.
No, but I don't. Well, maybe I don't know enough about it, but I don't see how that kid could have fit $10,000 worth of shit in that backpack.
Well, So another thing, they were kids. Like, so if you, the more you find out some more information as you go along. Two of the kids they were all three minors. Two of them were on ankle bracelets, or not GPS tracking thing. It's not ankle bracelets anymore. There's some sort of a GPS tracking thing that, and somehow or another they had made it so it looked like they were where they were supposed to be, but were out doing the things that they were clearly not supposed to be doing.
Well, and now, they've been charged. The kid that got stabbed is still in the hospital, but one of them's at a youth camp, and the other one's at a juvenile facility. So, I mean, they're being punished. They definitely did something wrong. But what we want to really talk about is, what's going to happen to Johnny Nguyen? Did he have the right to do what he did? And, what does it kind of look like where you are? So I pulled the Nevada revised statutes on self-defense, and it's kind of hilarious. I don't know who the fuck wrote this stuff. I also don't know who does their IT, because that was a shitty fucking directory. But anyway, Nevada revised statutes, it's 200.200, killing in self-defense. And it says, if a person kills another in self-defense, it must appear that, 1, the danger was so urgent and pressing that in order to save the person's own life or to prevent the person from receiving great bodily harm, the killing of the other was absolutely necessary, and 2, the person killed was the assailant, or that the slayer had really and in good faith endeavored to decline any further struggle before the mortal blow was given. Well, obviously this doesn't apply because the kid didn't end up dying. But it can apply in other circumstances that would be similar to that. Now, justifiable infliction or threat of bodily injury not punishable, and this is Nevada Revised Statute 200.275, in addition to any other circumstances recognized as justification at common law, the infliction or threat of bodily injury is justifiable and does not constitute mayhem, battery, or assault if done under circumstances which would justify homicide. So the reason I pulled up both of those is because the way I'm reading it, and I could be incorrect here, but the way I'm reading it is that 200.275 says he fucked those guys up because he could justify homicide if he wanted to. And then 200.200 says he could kill those people if he wanted to, but he didn't. So as far as I'm concerned, if I'm a lawyer or a juror, I let the kid walk. I don't even charge him. I mean, how do you feel?
Well, so one of the other bits of statutory language that was talked about in a couple of the different interpretations that I saw was there's this other notion called objective reasonable evidence of a deadly threat, right? So that means that they would have had to have actually literally pulled out a gun, pulled out a knife, both come at him like with crazy, like we're gonna go until you're done. Objective reasonable evidence of a deadly threat, and this may or may not have been present in that moment. One of the things that one of the guys ended up talking about that I was listening to, and he said, if I'm his lawyer, this is what I'm going to say. Is that so? When one of them was on one side and the other one was on the other side, Johnny had no point of egress, meaning that he didn't have anywhere else to go.
There was no escape.
The only way that he could get out of it was to fight his way out of it at that point in time. And another point that he made, and whether you like it or not, this is something that has been pervasive. I live in a Chinese house, so it's something that I've had to negotiate. a little bit more than most people, but violence against Asian Americans has been pretty heavy duty. So they could have made the argument that with no point of egress and the fact that type of activity had been perpetrated, there could have been like the fight or flight response in Johnny might have demanded that he do what it was that he needed to do. One of the other things that was said in that same video, though, and this is where, like, again, like every time people make arguments about these things, they're making them in the abstract. Two things were said repeatedly. One was, well, you need to just have pepper spray. I work at the post office. I do the ordering at the post office where I'm at. I order pepper spray all the time because dogs fucking come after carriers, and they have to have that pepper spray on them to spray those motherfucking dogs, and they do it all the time. But to say that he should have pepper spray, I mean, is he supposed to have pepper spray in 17 different spots all over the place? You know, I mean, this is just kind of an obnoxious.
So that's, I mean, okay, yeah, you blind him, and maybe that saves you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the reasons a lot of officers and the military in general carry a 45
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to a 9mm is because of the stopping power,
Mm-hmm.
right? So generally a 9mm is going to go through you.
Mm-hmm.
Pepper spray doesn't kill you. Yeah, it agitates the hell out of you, but that guy can still come at you. And let's say he had a knife, okay? So obviously a 45 is going to stop him. 9mm is going to go through, so he still has forward momentum. But if you're fucking blind with pepper spray and you have a knife,
You can still
you can slash, just slash in the air, and maybe you're not going to hit anything, but do you want to take that risk? I mean, again, because he had no exit, right?
Yeah.
So he pepper sprays these guys. Now he's got two fucking blind guys,
They've got knives in their hands.
and they're slashing at him.
He's fucked times two at that point.
Right.
So,
You know, I think instead of pepper spray, he should have had a fucking gun. But there's the pepper spray argument is bullshit, and most of these fucking people that say that shit have never been in a fist fight in their life. They've never been in a situation where, well, maybe they were scared, but that's because they're fucking assholes, right? They were in a part of town where it was dark and they were unfamiliar with it, and so they were scared. In a situation like that where nobody's bothering you, pepper spray is probably good. I don't know. The pepper spray argument, there are different kinds of pepper spray. You know, the pepper spray that the cops carry has stopping power. It'll fucking knock you on your ass. The shit that you buy at Walmart.
And the shit that I give the carriers, it'll stop a dog, but it's probably not going to stop a human in the same way.
And in a lot of cases, that pepper spray actually might put you in more danger, because I've seen where it actually, you know, if you get hit in the face, you get a boost of adrenaline. If you get fucking hit in the face with pepper spray, that adrenaline hits too.
Yeah, you get more. That the assailant might actually just be more angry at that point in time, meaning that you might have gone from fucked to fucked cubed. So, but okay, and so when I said there were two points that they made in that initial, the pepper spray was the first point that they made. The second point, and this one was a little bit more compelling. But even still, I don't know really what to do with it, and that is that he stabbed him 7 times. And the question is, could he have just stabbed him a couple of times and just like, did he need to keep going? I mean, was it something that, you know?
And you know, I'm not gonna pretend like I know what he was going through.
Yeah.
But me personally, if I've got the guy and he's still, I mean, he hit me in the face. Right?
I think that's a huge point.
He's fighting back. 2, he was wearing a backpack, and he was wearing like a big fucking thick hoodie. So while he may have been injured, that knife didn't do a lot of damage, I'm willing to bet.
Yeah.
He has stab wounds, but they're not stab wounds. In order to stab somebody, one, you need a really fucking sharp knife and a lot of power behind what you're doing. That's why when you're, I don't want to get into it a whole lot, but there are ways to put more pressure on the knife to ensure that you harm the person you're trying to
Where
harm.
were you going to go, Rambo Dexter?
Well, just that you put some extra force on the back of the knife, and
You're talking
use
about like a Kempo
two-handed,
thing where
like
you're,
a
it's
yeah,
about,
where you do a two-handed stab or an assist, something along those lines. But those little stabs, and don't get me wrong, he was putting some force into them, but I don't think he truly hurt that kid.
No, I think so when he's face to face with him, and he's stabbing him on his left side, but it's his Johnny's on his right. Like Brian had just said, he on that right side, it's 1, 2, 3, and then the guy totally fucking gives Johnny a full right cross. I mean, he fucking belts him fucking good. So in that moment, he even after the first three stabs, he was capable of fighting back. And another thing that could be implied by the big hoodie and the open backpack, we still don't know what's in those things. We still don't know that he isn't capable of reaching in there, pulling something out, and doing something. So in that moment, when he kind of turns and then he does the two on the hip area, then one that was in the side on his actual right side at that point when he's turned. I mean, that was probably the most dangerous blow, because that's one that could have hit organs at that point. But even still, he hasn't stopped going. So he comes to the top, gets him in the back on the right shoulder, and then, dude, I like the one that goes in at his neck. I fucking can't believe that he didn't die. I can't believe that didn't sever part of his
Carotid,
or not the carotid, but his spinal cord, because he was right on that. I mean, maybe it just hit his collarbone enough to where it glanced off of it. But
and that's the thing too. And I think if they end up charging the kid, Johnny, because the other one is being charged for robbery.
On top of the fact that they were already on probation and all that shit.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So violating their probation. But if Johnny does get charged, I think that using the knife as evidence is an important thing, because you're going to see, I'm guessing, there's damage to the knife because he was stabbing bone and not soft tissue. And that's important because if you do stab bone, I mean, really, depending on force and everything and how good the blade was, you can actually break a blade when you're doing that. So I'm sure that there's some kind of damage to the blade.
And we don't know that some of it didn't chip in the midst of all that was happening. And of course, because they're in the middle of an investigation that's ongoing right now, people are saying a lot of things about their opinions, and we don't know. We still don't really technically know what he could have. He still could have had a weapon on him. They're just not telling us that because it's an ongoing investigation. But at the end of this, when stabs 6 and 7 go, and he goes down and he says, I'm dead," and as he's looking, you can see, he's looking at the idiot that was at the front door that was holding it open, and I'm sure that they both just fucking blazed after that. That was when he no longer was trying to do anything else to affect Johnny. So when the assailant was no longer actively trying to engage him, Johnny doesn't stab him anymore. He drags his ass out into the front, and he contacts both the authorities and the paramedics.
Well, I think if you call 911, it hits both. Right?
Yes.
So, I mean, you don't have to do two separate calls.
I just mean that he's doing both things that he should be required to do at that point in time. He's not just sitting there like standing over the guy with his foot on him,
waiting
saying,
for him to die.
I'm gonna let you bleed out, motherfucker.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so again, if it's me, I'm the district attorney. I don't charge Johnny Wynn. Darren, do you charge him? Do you charge him for a lesser crime?
I don't want to. I mean, this is one of those things where things become so complicated when we're dealing with the law. I as I have said many times, like I love my marks and this and that, but I got to tell you, I respect people that make their own businesses, their small businesses. He did that on his own. He worked his ass off to get that into that position. He cared about what he did. He had pride in what it was that he had. That's fine. That's a good thing. He's not a fucking corporation that's fucking trying to dominate the fucking, be a master of the fucking universe.
Does that change it? So if you're an owner of a 7-Eleven, do you charge him because he stabbed two assailants or one?
I mean, my comments right now are totally obnoxious. Because the law doesn't, I'm not allowed to do what I'm doing right now. But I think that in that moment, I think that he acted as a conscientious person that was not over the top. Like I said, he wasn't standing over the top with his foot on, waiting for him to fucking bleed out. He called the people, even though he told them to shut up while he was like whining on the floor. I don't want to die today, mister. I didn't.
This wasn't my idea. Well, it was your idea to jump over the counter, you fucknut. So the reason I ask you the question is because I wanted to read some more legalese. Okay. Not because legalese is fun, but
we
because
need to know,
if he is charged, then that brings us to another entirely different thing, and that is trial by jury. And so as a juror, again, I already said I'd let him go.
They'd never let you
because I don't want him to be charged, but you're in an entirely different thing. So I went and I read lots of different statutes from lots of different states.
Okay, so is this one for Nevada?
No,
Colorado,
the Nevada one sucks. It's 3 fucking lines, dude. I already read it.
Okay.
So this is Colorado. Colorado Revised Statutes 18-1-704. Use of physical force in defense of a person. Okay? So, except as provided in subsections 2 and 3 of this section, a person is justified in using physical force upon another person in order to defend himself or a third person from what he reasonably believes to be the use of or imminent use of unlawful physical force by that other person, and he may use a degree of force which he reasonably believes to be necessary for that purpose. 2 is deadly physical force may be used only if a person reasonably, and that's the important part when we're talking about jurors, because reasonably believes a lesser degree of force is inadequate and more force is necessary. So that's in defense of a person. What's really hilarious to me is that 704.5 is use of deadly physical force against an intruder. And basically this is the Make My Day law. The General Assembly recognizes that citizens of Colorado have a right to expect absolute safety within their own homes. So any occupant of a dwelling is justified in using any degree of physical force, including deadly physical force, against another person when that person has made an unlawful entry into the dwelling, and when the occupant has a reasonable belief that such other person has committed a crime in the dwelling in addition to the uninvited entry. So that means, again, that word reasonable comes up. And that's where the jury is going to kind of see, some hazy shit. But based on that, if someone comes into my house and they had a TV, I can fucking kill them. Or if they came into my bedroom and I thought they were going to hurt me, I can kill them.
But so let me make sure that I'm understanding, though. I have to have a reasonable belief that a crime was committed to justify that I do the act, though.
No, that was 704.5. 704 is just protection of yourself or a third person. So you can use deadly force if a person reasonably believes a lesser degree of force is inadequate.
A lesser degree of force is so. What is that reasonable?
Okay, so again, I mean, we're talking. So let's apply this Colorado thing to Nevada, right? And Johnny Wynn. So Johnny didn't know what was in the backpack.
Yes.
He didn't know if he could escape because he was surrounded.
There's enough question marks that allow
Right.
you to justify. Okay.
So now he could kill him because and then he's in defense of his premises as well. So based on the Colorado thing, I don't charge him again. But if I do charge him, then that reasonable question comes in. So one, was Johnny Wynn reasonable? Could he reasonably assume that he was in danger, that a crime was being committed, that they had come in uninvited and were planning something? So based on Colorado revised statutes, again, I don't charge him. But if there's some fucking asshole district attorney who wants to make points, I just bit my tongue. He charges Johnny Wynn, and then probably tries to get a plea deal because he not only charges him with fucking assault, but he charges him with aggravated assault and intent to kill and, whatever.
Yes.
Right? So he stacks all these charges up on him, and he hopes to get a plea deal so that looks good on his conversion rate, on his prosecutorial numbers, as far as convictions go. Hopefully Johnny Wynn says, no, I don't want to take a plea, and he goes to a jury. And then at that point, that's when, the jury has to decide whether or not Johnny Wynn was reasonable in his decision. Now, all of that was on camera. That's good and bad, I think, from a legal perspective. It's bad because they know that the kids never pulled a weapon. They know that 2 of the kids fucking bolted. And they know that he stabbed him 7 fucking times, or at least tried to.
Okay, so one other thing, all right, and this is because you brought it up in the context of the Make My Day stuff. This is his business. This is not his home.
Okay, but that's the premises thing. So a person in possession or control of any building, realty, or other premises, or a person who is licensed or privileged to be thereon, is justified in using reasonable and appropriate physical force upon another person when and to the extent that it is reasonably necessary to prevent or terminate what he reasonably believes to be the commission or attempted commission of an unlawful trespass by the other person in or upon the building, realty, or premises. He may use deadly force only in defense of himself or another as described in 18-1704. So again, it rolls back to that, where you're not only defending the premises, but you're defending yourself. So and again, you got to understand, I want to make this clear. These do not apply to Johnny Wynn because Johnny Wynn is in Nevada.
Yeah.
But if Johnny Wynn was in Colorado, he is defending his business. He did or could reasonably assume that he was in danger of bodily harm. So I think what he did was right. And they have similar laws in California. They have similar laws in a lot of other states. It's kind of, I didn't go through all 50. Obviously, you guys need to look at the revised statutes in the place you live to find out if you can defend yourself at your home, at your business, or at the fucking mall. We're experiencing some dead air right now because Darren is in deep thought.
Yeah, it's like when you're sitting on the. No, we're not going to say that. I mean, obviously, it seems like Colorado creates but that I'm not even sure that it does, because that concept of reasonable is so precarious. You know, it depends on who it is. That's I get that's why you say you want it to go to the jury.
Well, I think that's why they put it in there, the reasonably thing, because, you know, then they can say, well, you were so amped up, you were so excited, you were so pumped on adrenaline that you probably weren't using any reasonable thought process. It was there because I don't want it to go to the jury, but as far as I'm concerned, that lets me off the hook. Again, aggressive DAs are going to go after you, probably.
It depends on the circumstance. Like if it's like political for any reason, you know, there's all kinds of mitigating circumstances that can affect.
Right. If he's in an election year.
Yeah.
If he just lost a big case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If a cop gets killed in the process of it. Things like that.
Well, and there's a whole section on special relationships, which include cops and security guards and doctors and lawyers and whatever. But, you know, again, look at your revised statutes before you decide you're going to go ahead and kill somebody. There is also a section, you know, that in the Colorado revised statutes that says if you, oh no, maybe that was California. Fuck. Sorry, I read so many statutes that I can't remember for sure. I know I printed up the important ones. But anyway, it said that if you initially started the fight and the guy fought back and you ended up killing him, that was not a justifiable homicide because you started it. Now, it did say if you start it and then actively said, I don't want to participate anymore, and they keep coming after you and you kill them, then it can be justified. But that gets kind of fucking murky.
Yeah. But it is like you ended it and then they started. I mean, that's the whole point about that. Yeah. Dude, it's complicated. I mean, on some level, I feel bad for the kid because it does. I mean, like when I look at Nevada's situation, I really don't think this is going to turn out good for him. What's interesting though is like immediately after it happened, somebody started a huge GoFundMe thing, so he's already got tons and tons of money ready for his legal fees. And of course, they still haven't done anything yet. They may not, and you're right. They may not. They may choose not to do anything. It's interesting how, because this has been all over the place. I mean, like people have looked at it.
Well, and that's part of the problem too. So maybe when Johnny did the Reddit thing, that was smart on his part because the district attorney probably doesn't want to go and try to choose a jury that has been fucking influenced by the news. Because all of this shit happened at the beginning of August.
Yeah.
It's the fucking middle of September now, and we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
So imagine what they're talking about in Nevada. You know, so where do you have to go in Nevada to get a jury that hasn't been influenced by...
They're all tainted.
X,
Everything's tainted, yeah.
And honestly, again... I want to say it because I am a big believer in defending what's yours and yourself. Again, I don't charge him flat out. I don't think that there's any fucking gray area as far as I'm concerned. I think he did what any of us should do if that's what you want to do. I know after stab 3, you know, maybe that's where he should have cut it off. But until that kid went down and was no longer actively moving toward me in an aggressive fashion, I would have kept fucking stabbing him too, I think. I mean, he didn't go crazy like serial killers and stab him fucking 97 times. He didn't do the power assist in the chest.
And again, he was still. I mean, like I said, he gets the 3 stabs, and then the kid gives him the right cross. So he's still coming at him at that point in time. I'm not overly romantic with regards to property. You know, I mean, except for the fact that I do respect. You know, I respect somebody that works to get something a hell of a lot more than somebody who fucking, you know, is born with a fucking Donald Trump silver spoon in their mouth. You know, but regardless. I mean, like I just like when I went and watched it that first night. I must have watched it 7 times that night, and not because like I am not the kind of person that likes to watch shit like that. I don't know. I work on the window at the post office. I've had some weird shit happen, you know, here and there. I will not say one way or another whether or not. But if whether or not I'd have something in my pocket, but I think you'd be a fool if you didn't at least have something available to you to, you know, because people are fucking cuckoo in this world right now. And we had some goofy bastard come into our station. He did what they call a First Amendment audit, and he was hyper aggressive. He posted it on YouTube, and it got, please don't go look for this. He gets paid for it because it's all about getting YouTube hits. But he kept calling the station after that and demanding access to people higher, and he said that he was going to come down there with tons and tons of other people. And at some point, you know, you start to wonder whether or not, because this guy's some sort of a sovereign citizen kind of kook. Where is he going to take it? You know, if he brings other people in there, what are their intentions? Is their intention just to get hits on, you know, or are they going to, you know, do some sort of January 6th kind of thing, you know? So for people that are in smaller establishments like that, where people come in and, you know, like Johnny Wynn has, you know, he's got, you know, $100,000 in inventory in there. He's a target, you know. Any place that's got that, I mean, this is a real question, and
it is a real question, but you haven't fucking answered it yet, dude. I don't understand. Like, I mean, seriously, and I know that you're gonna get all, well, douche nozzle, why don't you fucking just calm down? But
okay, thank you for putting words in my mouth, dick fuck.
See, I knew you were gonna call me a name. I know you're not fucking romantic about property. I understand that, but I mean, if it were you, would you want? I mean, obviously you wouldn't want to be charged, but I think you would have stabbed that guy.
I'm pretty sure I would have, but I'm not sure I would have taken it as far as him.
So your issue is the number of times he stabbed him.
I'm not sure I have an issue. I still don't know that I want him to be charged. There's never going to be anything black and white about this, dude. Not even close to fucking black and white. You know? I mean, if somebody comes into my living space and they threaten my physical well-being, then yes, I'm going to do things to defend myself, to protect and to protect the other people that are around me, because where I work with a bunch of, you know, a couple of, you know, older ladies, and, you know, I mean, they're not gonna, you know, and they, by their own admission, they're not gonna be in a position to where they can protect themselves. So
I gave a bunch of girls stuff to defend themselves with. Because I wanted to help out, and a lot of them are scared.
I work in a federal building, so I have to be real careful about that question. So
right. So is that why the hesitation on whether or not you would charge Johnny Wayne?
Like I said, I mean, because like I said, if it's me, I'm gonna do what I fucking need to do, whether it's a federal building or not.
Right.
After that fucking kid came in and did that shit to me. And then I didn't say, but I got doxxed. They fucking posted my fucking middle name, my first name, my middle name, my last name, which means anybody could have come looking for me. You know, I mean, that's not just me. That's me and my family. You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, people sometimes people have a wishy-washy, fantasy thought process about the way that the world works, and they want everybody to be able to shake hands and sing "Kumbaya," and that is not, unfortunately. I promise you, after my name got posted on there,
the world a Coke and keep it company.
After my name got posted on that site, I had, and I contacted the fucking postal inspectors to try to get them to get it removed, and they fucking wouldn't even do anything about it. So, where am I left at that point in time? The only thing that I have left is for me to do to protect myself. So, if that's the way that it is, and the unique thing about him is he did do it, so many times, but the fact of the matter is the kid didn't stop coming until the 7th. So in the end, I think that they should probably leave his ass alone. I don't think that he's the kind of person who he just wants to be left alone and to be able to conduct business.
Yeah.
Which is, if you live in this world, this, fantasy bullshit, not really capitalist world that we live in, he should be able to do what he needs to do.
So, by the way, anything that I said on this show, I would like to state that I am not an attorney, nor am I a member of any bar association.
Yeah, we're not giving anybody legal advice here.
It was merely opinion, my opinion, Darren's opinion. And you got to take them for what they're worth. But like I said, you need to do some fucking research wherever you are before you decide to do whatever. Because and we're at 46 minutes now, so we got to kind of come to an end. But, I took the concealed carry classes. So everybody thinks that once they got concealed carry, they can go ahead and just shoot anybody. That definitely isn't the case, and there's an entire organization that is set up to protect you, not the NRA, but they're there too, where if you get into like a shooting match with somebody and you killed someone, they will help defend you. So it isn't always black and white, but as far as Johnny Wynn is concerned, I definitely let him go.
Yeah, and I think the only reason why I hem and haw is just because I think that it's important for people to understand that we don't just automatically jump to that self-defense disposition. We have to be thoughtful. We have to not automatically run to it. But when the time comes, you have to do what's necessary. So, one other thing, because I didn't get to do corrections at the beginning of this one. I'm going to just say this real quick. We talked about water in our last episode. I feel horrible that somehow or another we managed to not talk about Jackson. We didn't talk about Flint. Everything that's going on in Jackson, Mississippi right now is utter fucking bullshit. It's something that needs to be dealt with. I actually, the mayor, actually got to meet his dad before he passed away in 2014. He came to Metro for part of our Beyond Chicanezville speaker series. So I kind of have a personal connection to that area through that, and I just want to apologize for not having brought that up. So
I've been to Jackson, Mississippi. I don't understand why they line dance to everything, but whatever. I hope you guys get some water soon.
You are a dick.
Why?
I don't understand why they line dance to everything.
They do, dude. Everywhere I went, they were fucking line dancing. Anyway, I think that's it for this show. Good luck, Johnny Wynn. And, well, fuck it. We'll talk to you at the next episode when we're discussing death row last meals. What would you eat?
Kind of funny.
Talk to you later.
Later.